What?
We just have. Are we in frame?
Yeah.
Because if you're thoughtful.
Thoughtful.
Sort of. You're sad because you've heard your house has got to fall down.
It's more like a flipping ABBA video.
I know, but just like that. I know, but yeah, it's true.
Will you get something out of that way?
I think so. That is as though we're sort of like, I'm not really sure, you know, it's like, so we're looking at this, but gosh, it's all a house. No, not that. You won't want that one. Okay, that's good. So the question on everyone's lips now, what did the structural engineer say? Don't keep us waiting.
Well, I think he basically came back and said he thinks we should flatten the house. He thinks we should knock it all down and have a new foundation for the whole of the footprint of the old house and the extension laid at once. So we do away with the old house altogether.
And his reason for that is?
His reason for that was he thought it would be cheaper to start again rather than trying to preserve what's there. He just, in his mind, it would be a lot cheaper just to get rid of everything and start from scratch. And who knows, he might be right, but where do you go with that, you see? How do you deal with that? And that was the big shock, really. It kind of came out of nowhere.
And we do just need to say that he didn't see anything other than the photograph that I'll put up on the screen now. This was what Dennis had told him. Dennis saw when he laid the ESB cable. And so he hasn't been out again to look for himself. And no test
there was only that one, if you like, there was only that one test pit. There's a test pit on the outside now that Dennis dug when they were putting the ducting in.
Yeah.
But there is a test pit on the inside that I dug myself.
Yeah.
Last year.
Yeah.
And on the inside, it does look like there's a footing.
Yeah.
Because you go down maybe 6 or 7 inches, and there is a shoulder that the house seemed to be built on.
Yes.
So I didn't want to dig down any further than that while I was there by myself. But
yeah.
And there's only that one section of the house that on the outside, because there's a concrete walkway all around the house.
Yeah.
There's no way of knowing what the foundations are like underneath the house.
No.
Without digging more test pits.
Yeah. And you're guessing, I mean, this is guessing.
It's all guesswork.
That from what we've seen so far from that pit, that it looks like it's stone, like a stone wall that just continues further down. Not a footing, but definitely a foundation there.
Well, yes. I think it looks like what they've done. I can do a drawing, but what it looks like they've done is they've dug a trench, and they'll have dug down till they've hit solid ground, if you like. Well, we know from the road that you only have to go down about 18 inches through the soil and the clay until you get to that bed of stone, the same stone as we used on the road.
Yeah.
So they'll have dug the foundation for the house as it stands now, and then built a wall to begin with, deep into the ground, maybe 2 foot down. There'll have been a wall into the ground. But they didn't seem to build it as an actual footing. It's not wider than the actual walls of the house. That's the problem. It should have probably been wider than the walls of the house. But they've been very limited on materials then.
Yeah. And the concern of the structural engineer is the tying the old house to the new house if we keep the old house. So can you just explain a bit about the plan as it stands?
Yeah, even though there'll be a new foundation all through. I mean, I was speaking to someone on Facebook. I know it's probably on Facebook. But they were very helpful and saying a lot of these buildings have survived so long is because the foundations aren't so solid. And because the ground moves, it allows the building to bed in to the ground. So one of the concerns the building engineer was having is if you have a very strong foundation for the extension and you have this kind of movable foundation for the original house, where the two join together, there might always be problem with that joint.
Because it'll pull on it and get cracks in the wall and...
Well, where the two are joined, yeah. Yeah. And also you kind of... You're disturbing the house. You're disturbing the old house. It was something we weren't ready to deal with at the time.
Yeah.
It was
came as a
bit
shock.
of a shock.
Yeah. It's tracking. And we've only got one mic here.
And we've got two faces.
Yeah, anyway. So, and one chair.
Let's see what life's about now.
Yeah, so we're telling you all that just to get you up to scratch with what we've been saying. We think his preference is to knock it down and start again. But he doesn't... I mean, it's a bit like people telling you you could have a brand new car for the same price as, keep on repairing your old car. And most people say, oh, a brand new car, unless it was a classic. Or, I don't know, new pair of shoes or a new TV or something. And usually with a lot of things you'd say, yes, I want new. But I think houses, it's different. And I just think...
Well, it goes back to the thing, we bought that house for a reason, didn't we?
Yeah.
And we bought that house, and whether people like it or not, it's got a lot of charm. It is what it is. It's been there for 100 years. And that's what we kind of fell in love with about the house.
And when we bought it, we did get... I mean, it's such an awkward situation.
It is.
When we bought it, we did get a survey done. And the survey didn't pick up that it had rising damp or that it had subsidence, that it's falling into clay. And I remember, I don't know if you remember this, Noel, but that same structural engineer came and looked at it at the time when we were talking about our plans and everything. And I remember him saying, you won't have any problems with your foundations, it's solid.
It's a horrible thing to say, but there is a bit of just covering yourself. By saying, let's just do away with it, you're kind of absolving yourself of any responsibility of saying, look, I told you it wasn't good enough, or I told you you should do this, or I told you you should do that. Yeah. And practically, it makes loads of sense. Yeah. Yeah. But
it's not all about practical, is it?
It's not all about practical, is it?
Also be a challenge not being there and having to deal with everything remotely. Noel has to go out into the churchyard when he's ringing Ireland to speak to anybody because we don't get a great signal in the house. And then you're left thinking about what's been said and dealing with problems without being able to continue having a conversation face to face. But that can be a good thing because it gives you time to reflect, get out in nature, go for a walk. And then you're not making rash decisions, you're allowing yourself space to let it all sink in.
So we had everything ready, didn't we, to start work?
Well, we thought we did.
We had a lot of the quotes in. We knew that the price of materials had increased hugely, massively. I mean, some of the quotes were coming in a lot more than we expected. Price of concrete, price of timber, everything, insulation. Yeah.
You noticed there was no actual footings to the original building. The stone down there's like the wall is just a continuation of the wall they built underneath. So it is a foundation in ways. It's just not an actual footing that was put there.
So here are the options. No foundations where it's built straight onto the earth. That's not our house. Secondly, with footings where you'd expect to see that little lip out at the side. We see it on the inside but not on the outside. On the outside it seems to be without footings in that the foundations just go down as a continuation of the outside wall.
Which raised concerns, especially for the building engineer.
So he sent photographs of it or spoke to the building engineer, who then spoke to you and said that he wasn't confident that with the plans as they are,
The foundation might not be strong enough to take that large beam on the back wall, because we'll be opening up pretty much all of the back wall. The house will have to take quite a lot of weight.
Well, because he wanted to raise the ceiling height on the inside as well.
Yeah.
By one course of blocks, just to give us more headroom. It's not that it's lacking in headroom, but he just thought it would be better to raise the ceiling height on the inside.
Mm-hmm. But the thing is, Noel, it's not just about sentiment, because we actually spent 82,000 on buying that house, and probably 22 of that was for the land, because they do separate out the land because you pay a different tax for the land and the house, so about 60 grand euros. And so the thought of just flattening it, you know, you've got a house 1 minute and the next minute it's not there. The thought of actually looking down that little lane when you get to the end and seeing nothing there, it would just break our hearts.
Well, it would have done. It would have done. Even though we were planning on replacing almost like for like, never replace like for like.
No, and we were trying to reason with ourselves, saying, oh, maybe we could use some of the materials again in the new, you know, to reuse them, and then it's sort of like still part of the old house. But to be honest, it's in good condition. Really, that house. The timbers are good.
Well, it's not falling down.
The roof timbers,
inside,
yeah,
the roof timbers
it's
are
all
good.
dry.
There's no rot in there or anything.
Yeah, and we think it's solid stone. I mean, this is the thing. It looks like it's quite modern, but when you took a little bit of the plaster out, yeah. So the point is, it's probably really solidly built, and you know, we value it not just emotionally and sentimentally, but we value it for the materials, which actually we really need to be thinking about now because of the prices of everything going up. You know?
I know, and you've got a perfectly usable building there, and all you're doing is knocking something down to make a load more concrete,
Yeah.
and new materials that are being produced for no reason.
Yeah. Aren't done.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
We're not going to knock it down.
We're not going to knock it down, are we?
We're not. No.
No.
There'll be a way.
There is a way. It's just that we
Yeah.
don't know what it is yet.
Yeah.
But there is a way, and
Well,
we're not going to knock it down.
We'll ask the house. House will tell us there's a way.
There's thousands of houses that people live in that are like that. So there's no reason it has to be knocked down.
No.
There's absolutely no reason at all. Even though you might have a warmer, drier, better insulated.
You're really selling it to me. Have faith in us. We're going to have our hidden house, and
And it will be the original hidden house.
it's not going anywhere.